Right guys, hello, another video for you. I wanted to revisit Winwing's Orion 2 throttle to focus on the finger lift kit. See lots of people wondering whether they need this, so I thought we'll do a video to help those people out. So what you need to know, the Orion 2 base, if we want detents, we add them externally, and that's what the finger lift kit is all about. The Orion 1 throttle, the old one, the detents were built in internally. So what are detents? You can think of it as a stopper in that range of travel, so you know what setting you're at. You'd feel it through the resistance rather than having to look at the throttle. So if you're doing, let's say, DCS World, which is highly probable if you're looking at this throttle, what you don't want to do is you're trying to throttle back to idle, but you don't want to come all the way back, because that would be the offsetting, which would turn your engine off completely mid-flight. That wouldn't end well for you. And on the other range of travel, you've got the afterburner. You don't want to unnecessarily burn fuel, so you want to be at military power, not afterburner. So you can have a detent, so you know where you are in that range of travel. So it's cool for the Orion 2 that we do have that free range of movement inside the base, because you might not want these grips. You might want to have a helicopter collective. So if you put that on the Orion 1 base, you'd have those points of resistance in the collective that it shouldn't have. So adding them to the Orion 2, you've got that free range of travel for your collective. So we can take these grips off, put on the collective if you want. It's really up to you. So this works by adding on this bracket. We can see it bolts down at the front, bolt runs down and through. There's a nut underneath, so we can tighten that up. And we have another bolt that runs down through. That's hidden at the moment because this idle detent is covering it up. So once that bracket's on, you can start adding your detent. So here's the idle one. We run our set screw through, and you can adjust the position and then tighten it down when you're happy with it. They give us one for 50% throttle, which I've not fitted, so that would obviously live around halfway. Now, why would you add that? If you do space sims like Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, some people like to have halfway as stop, zero throttle. They push forward to go forwards, they pull back to reverse. So that detent goes up, gives you a dip, and then that little tab, you'd feel it sit into that dip, and you'd feel it that you're at 50% throttle. I haven't done that, but I have fitted the afterburner detent. As I said, now I know I'm at military power. If I want the afterburner, I come all the way forwards. In the last video I did, someone said, why do I keep using the finger lift to go over the afterburner detent? So you don't need to do that. You can just push through. Right, so we'll explain why. You might be able to tell that my detent, we're not focusing very well, but my detents are a lot more glossy than they were in the last video, because I added a dab of silicone grease. A little bit goes a long way. What I was finding, there was a lot of resistance trying to push through that detent. Now, adding that silicone grease, that's reduced that a lot. So I highly recommend you do it if you want to push through the detents. But I am trying to minimize that resistance as much as possible, and by lifting that finger lift, there is no resistance whatsoever. So what we have these two holes here for the friction adjustment. They give you a Allen key to put in there to turn that to adjust it. Now we want it just tight enough that it's going to hold that throttle grip in whatever position we leave it in. I've loosened this one off. You'll see it'll get to a point where it's just going to fall. That's too loose. So just enough to hold it. Don't want to go too far. When you get it out of the box, you'll probably find that it's locked. You'll need to loosen them off. So what would happen if they were locked and you try to push against that? You'd break your throttle. I've said this in the last video I did. Some people are breaking the finger lift kit. Now, it's actually worse than that. It's not like these tabs that are breaking. It's this plate. So it's POM material, polyoxymethylene. It's plastic by any other name, and this will degrade over time from UV rays, comes from the sun. Can't really hide from it. So this is unfortunate. It is a weak part of the throttle. The Orion 1, this would have been a metal plate. On the Orion 2, the F15, F18 grips, we get the plastic plate. Orion 2 with the F16 grip, it is a metal plate. So I'll link a video in the description, because there's a guy who broke the plate. Winwing told him, you've been too violent with it, you've broken it, it's your own fault. We won't replace it under warranty. So he scanned it and he's made the files available for you to 3D print it. He's done his out of resin. So yeah, now you know, if you've broken it, you can get it replaced cheaply. But mine haven't broken. I've had it well over a year. I use it plenty. I have not over tightened the plate. I think that's a mistake some people are making. And I'm also not pushing through that detent. So adding the silicone grease is obviously going to make it a lot more slippery and help it slide through. So I'm not over tightening the friction. I don't want to be applying any more force than I have to, because like the pivot point down here, there's not a lot of material on that PLM plate, and that's where it's snapping right down there. So I'm not siding with Winwing and saying they're right. Obviously I would have been happier if this was a metal plate, but I've owned mine well over a year and it's not broken. So as I say, F18 grips I've got on. By design, yes, I should push through, but I like to use the finger grips. So when I said in the last video about the throttle was it's not really ideal to plonk it on the desk up in front of you, because it's all to do with operating these finger lifts. As you get further forward to try and reach them, they are quite low down. You're having to sort of hunch up and over to reach it, and to get these front switches as well, it's quite awkward. So if you can get it down to your side, either using a desk mount or just put it on a bedside table or something like that to the side of your chair, that just makes it easier to reach these finger lifts and get to those switches. So I'm very happy with the throttle, as I said in the last video. If you've got any other questions, post them in the comments. I'll reply best I can. So we'll leave it there, guys. Have a great day, have a great evening, whatever it is you choose to do after watching this, and as always, I'll see you when I see you next. Ciao for now.